from the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, Outdoor Oklahoma.
Well, hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead. I certainly don't need to remind you what an incredibly hot, record-breaking summer 2011 was. More than once, we were the center of national news for our extreme heat and our drought conditions. But sportsmen that were willing to lather on the sunscreen and pack some extra water still found plenty of ways to enjoy the outdoors. And today we're going to showcase some of those hot weather opportunities. We'll do a little gar fishing and then we'll head out to the Selman Bat Cave. But first, we'll visit with a fisheries biologist to get the scoop on what kind of effect the record temperatures had on one of our state's premier fishing destinations bordering Texas in south central Oklahoma.
Fishing so far in 2011 on Texoma we've had some really good days and we've had some days that are subpar. Fairly inconsistent for what we are used to seeing here at Lake Texoma, although considering some of the problems we've had over the last few years with the shad die-off and how that affected the striped bass in the lake, we're actually doing very well. Back in February, we did our annual gillnet surveys, and we did see a little bit of thinning of the population for the striped bass due to last year's conditions, but what we saw was encouraging. There was a lot of fish out there that were 16 to 18 inches, and those fish have been actively feeding all summer long. There's a lot of fish in the 20 to 21 inch range, and that's really the dominant year class that's out there right now in the catchable size is right at a 20-inch fish. Really good fish to catch right now. And what is encouraging is if you're out on the lake now, you'll see a lot of small stripers. And what these are fish that were produced last year, and they're doing a great job now. It's a very abundant year class and should be around 14 to 16 inches this next year and reach that 20-inch mark by their third summer. So we've got good days ahead at Lake Texoma for fishing.
Girl! All right, I'm gonna have to move over here on her side of the boat.
Well, I hope you realize just how lucky we are here in Oklahoma to have such a wide variety of fishing opportunities, from stripers to paddlefish to 3 types of bass, giant blue catfish. I mean, the list could go on. But possibly one of the most unique and overlooked types of fishing in Oklahoma doesn't even use a hook on the lure. And likely this fish is probably going to bite during the hottest dog days of summer when nothing else will. We're now going to travel up close to the northern border of Oklahoma, just east of Ponca City, where we'll join John Stahl, Jason Grace, Jeff Boxrucker, Tom Wolf, and Bill Wintroth as they do a little gar fishing below the tailwaters of Kaw Lake. Now, Oklahoma has several different species of gar, but today our guys are going to be targeting the long-nosed gar. Now, this prehistoric fish is known to be a terrific fighter on the line, but just don't try to lip one. These fish have dozens of needle-sharp teeth, and as you'll see, our guys today have a lot of respect for these fish anytime they handle one. Now, fishing tailwaters can be very productive, but it also requires you to be aware of a few extra things. Anytime a lake is going to release water, they will blow a siren. So once you hear that siren, always be aware of your position in relation to the closest way to clear out of that area.
Rocks are just like snot. He said, "Look, I told you these golf shoes," and his feet went out from under him. He fell on his rod and broke it.
There's one. No, I just saw him surface. We're down here below Kaw Dam today. Pleasant day in the 80s. Gar fishing. And we just come out of some horrible 100-degree days, and you know, in the middle of the summer when it's blasted hot, you know, you can night catfish, but a lot of your things like crappie and other stuff just kind of go semi-dormant. Been seeing these big gar down here below the dam, started doing a little research on gar lures, which are nylon twine or rope unwoven, fuzzed up a little bit. You put a spinner on it, and there's no hook. The gar gets his teeth caught in this lure and the nylon, and he's yours. Not very big.
This is my first time. I've caught a gar or two before, but it's never been when I've been fishing for him. But he opened up his mouth. I think I can get him off. There we go. Is that a keeper?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna stick him in the ice chest.
When we're talking about blue cats, we talk about fryers, which are 2, 4, 5, 6, 8 pounds. When they get up around 10, 15, 20, we call them toads. Well, in gar, it's footers. And you haven't got anything to brag about unless you got at least a 3.5 footer. You're pretty daggum proud of a 4 footer. And a 5 footer, you're a big chief. Let's see how big he is.
It's a 3-footer.
3-footer. Oh, 34-inch.
Well, you gotta hold it at the end of the nose.
I got 3 foot. 3-footer.
And if he wasn't, you could have held him an inch beyond the nose.
Yep, yep.
All right.
Just get him up there on the rocks. I'll take him up there in a little bit. Also, when looking around and stuff, there's people that eat these things. So we had to try it. So we watched how the filet one take the back straps out. The only way we prepared it so far is crab or shrimp boil. It's dang good.
It's a real white meat. And once you get past those bony scales, you end up with a fillet that looks like a tenderloin on a deer. Just a nice round piece of meat.
Clean these fish. You're gonna need a real sharp fillet knife. I got 2 here just in case one's not very sharp. And a good pair of game shears like you would to clip pheasant's wings or quail wings, or these bone scissors, or some people use tin snips. But this armor is real thick and it's real sharp. What you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna take your fillet knife, and right here on this dorsal fin, it's coming there. That's kind of a soft spot. There's no scales right beside it. And you're gonna slice just like so. And then you can use your game shears, or I got these bone scissors, and you can cut right across the top of the backbone. After we made our cuts all up and down the backbone and on the sides of the fish, on both sides, we're gonna slice this armor off. It's just like a deer, like splaying out a back strap. We're gonna take the back straps off this whole length of this fish. But you gotta be real careful. This armor is super sharp. When you cut that, it's like a razor. So we're gonna flay that out like you're skinning a deer. Just go up and down the side of it. And kind of roll that skin off. At the same time, we're gonna open this fish up. Now that we've flayed this fillet out here, and well, you don't just get one off these fish, you get 2. Look at that, ain't that pretty? Nice and white. Might even rival crappie, maybe.
Did good. Quick release. Quick release. I like that. That's catch and release gar fishing. Catch and release.
We're getting good mess of meat. Have a gar boil. Shucking gar.
There you go. That's the way you do it.
Fish on.
There we go.
Big
Get out
one.
of your line here.
Yes, it is. I'll land him for you. Get him up here.
Here, try this. This worked out pretty well for me. Mason's trying just to get all the play out of that fish he can.
All right.
Man, that's fun.
That is fun. Nice
Fly
fish.
fishing for gar.
Where you bringing
What's
him?
the
Up
world
around
coming
here,
to?
you still playing? Okay.
I think it's the same fish I saw.
Might be. It's a nice one. He ain't ready.
You want a glove, John?
I got my pliers. Hold on. Jason, I'm coming. The old man's making it slow but sure.
Doggy.
You got him? You do it with feet. They're footers. This looks like a 4 foot.
Those are my feet.
This is a 4 footer. Now I got the tape to prove it.
Look at the back straps on that one.
That's a good one.
You're getting good at that. You're getting good at that, Bill.
Always have you a towel or a glove or a pair of pliers to bring him in with, because those teeth are needle sharp and they like to rip you. So always be prepared to have something to get him on bank.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I don't want to get bit.
But you take Oklahoma all over from southeast clear up here to the northern part of the state, there's just an abundance of gar in these spillways, in the rivers, and in the lakes. And the heat don't seem to bother them if you're tough enough to take the heat. They seem to take about anything. And I'm 57 years old. From the time I was a little bitty fella, I always thought they were trash fish.
3 gloves,
You
2
cuss them when
towels.
they take your bait. Cuss them trying to get them off a hook if you're lucky enough to get a hook in one. Then you kicked him and threw him back in.
Towel, that does the trick.
But they're pretty daggum tasty, and they're a lot of fun to fish for. You can actually sight cast to them. You can see one porpoise and throw in front of him, and sometimes he'll reach right out there and grab it. But it's a hoot lot of fun in the hot part of summer when other things ain't biting. It's a hoot.
Well, whereas the hot, dry conditions of last summer may have slowed down some activities, others had their best year ever, like the viewing tours at the Selman Bat Cave in northwest Oklahoma. The cave is the summer home to literally millions of Mexican free-tailed bats, and the Wildlife Department hosts several viewing tours each summer so folks can have a front row seat to the action as these bats leave the cave for their nightly feeding excursion. Now, viewing tours are limited to only 75 people each evening and are filled only by registration. So to get your chance to see the bats come out of the cave, you're going to have to pre-register on our website, wildlifedepartment.com. Start looking for that pre-registration information towards the end of May. Now, the harsh conditions of 2011 meant that the bats had to leave the cave earlier each evening so they could travel farther looking for insects to feed on. This meant that folks had the chance to see more bats before nightfall. Our producer Steve Weber was not so lucky on his trip to the cave the summer before in 2010. Milder conditions meant most of the bats didn't leave until after sundown, which is a photographer's worst nightmare. He did, however, spot a flock of turkeys going to roost in the canyon and still managed to video a few bats returning to the cave the next morning. We'll leave you today enjoying the sights and sounds of the Selman Bat Cave.